All right, hey anime fans, we are back. This is going to be a two-part because we ran out of footage, so we're going to have to chop this up. And so, back to as I was saying, I was comparing a scene, like what's a scene between like Monster Musume, that show where the guy he's being coiled around the snake girl, and she's like throwing herself at him, and he's like so like he like really just wants no parts in her. I was trying to say like a show like that where you got all the girls they're living with the guy, but like he's acting as if he doesn't even want to touch them, shows like the maturity level of the show. And I think that will appeal to certain people, but I think a more mature audience is going to gravitate more towards like a Peter Grill type of show. So Monster Musume, High School DxD, I think those are kind of more of in a certain realm. And then something like Interspecies Reviewers and Peter Grill, they're in a different bracket. Also like this show Super X Arrows, that's another one. They're not like they're not dealing with the guy, so it shows the maturity level. Also, the other one we just mentioned, what was it? The one, the world where dirty jokes don't exist. You know, the president on
Okay,
there, she's
yeah.
like throwing herself at him, and he's like terrified of her. You know, another one I think it was a little lube, not as much, was Heaven's Lost Property. You know, that's another show where the character he's like the girl's like the angel, or the girl's like the angel's right there. She's like, you know, I'll do anything you want, kind of like, and he's a perv, but he's like wants no part. So like these shows separate themselves from a show like Peter Grill, and I can appreciate a show like Peter Grill a little more. I think Peter Grill also reminds me of like How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Now, even though that's not even supposed to be that tone, you can still kind of tell that's a little bit more mature. The Demon Lord, he doesn't. It's like almost like insinuated, like the Demon Lord on that show. He actually did kind of like surrenders to the girls, but not in a way that's so like dramatic. Like let's say Issei, comparing like the Demon Lord from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord versus Issei, they're both waking up in a bed in a similar fashion to two beautiful girls. But there's a huge difference between How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. There's like a maturity aspect you can see with that show, how he deals with the girls, even though he's not really trying to deal with the girls for whatever moral reason he has, versus Issei, who's just being very goofy about it. It's just like, okay, you know, it almost feels like this being targeted to kids, even though there's upskirts, ass, and titties everywhere. That's just my thoughts on that, but I digress from that point. Because I was on my Inter-PCC reviewers video, I wanted to be clear, like my thoughts of the distinct differences between a show like Interspecies Reviewer and a show like this.
I think it really just depends on what you're interested in watching, or what you're interested in.
Oh, granted, I'm not taking away from the show at all. I just feel like there's a maturity difference. Like I mentioned, like an old, like a older man, like let's say your grandfather, let's say your grandpa, right? You like Pop, yo, he's what 70 years old. You're like, Papa, I want you to watch this anime. He's like, well, anime? What's anime? Right? And like, let me show you. You got Peter Grill in one hand, and you got High School DxD in another hand. What I'm saying is most audiences that are that mature are going to gravitate more towards enjoying the show like Peter Grill versus watching Issei get nosebleed over overthinking grabbing titties. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying like, you know, there's something wrong with it, or you know it's bad or shouldn't be in it. I just think that they separate themselves from reaching a more mature audience, because a lot of people who, from my experience, one of the things that I hear a lot when it comes to to anime. A lot of people think that it's for kids. A lot of people get the impression that these animes aren't for adults, you know. And so if you're trying to get somebody who's 40 plus into an anime, they're likely going to come at it from the perspective like I'm watching a cartoon, right?
Yeah,
And then
you do get that.
yeah, and then if they're seeing Issei do this, there's the impression they're going to be left with. Versus, like I said, Peter Grill, they're a person coming into anime for the first time. You show them a show like Peter Grill, just comparing these two directly against each other. They're going to gravitate towards that more because it shows more of a mature approach to dealing with sexual situations.
Yeah, I could see my I could see my pop being more interested in Peter Grill
Right.
than DxD. He's not gonna be interested in a kid just thinking about what he wants to do and all these nosebleeds going on. He'll be like, "Yeah, it's for kids. I don't watch this." But for Peter Grill, he'll be more interested in that.
Yeah.
Especially because the guy's actually doing something with the having sex with the females. He'll be more interested. I think he'll be more interested in that.
Right.
Way more.
So.
And for me, I'll be more interested in Peter Grill than this boy thinking and nosebleeds, and it really makes me mad. Really. I wish he would just do it already.
Like, don't you want to be a harem king? Like, what do you think that means to be a harem king? How you gonna be a harem king and scared to touch breasts? Like, I
didn't understand that either.
I'm not getting it.
Like, I didn't know. To be a harem king, he's going to have to get over that fear. He want to.
He's gonna have to pop his cherry at some point. Like what? Like when is this gonna happen? I'm waiting for him to lose his virginity. I want to see how this goes down. He had a whole opportunity. Asia and Rias is like fighting over him in the bedroom. This is a hilarious scene. You know, Asia's like, oh, I love Asia. Like I said, she's so waifu material. Like that scene where Asia is trying to sleep in the room with him, but Rias is like, no, I want to sleep in the room with him. And they're fighting over who gets to sleep with them. And then they both end up sleeping. I thought that scene was hilarious. So
I like that scene.
But and speaking of Asia, let's dig into that. Like, I think Asia, me personally, I think Asia would probably be my top girl next to Akano. Right? Who would you say is your favorite girl in the Green Mary house?
I like Akano. Akano.
Akano. She's the crowd favorite. Everybody loves Akano. I think on my waifu list, Akano's rated like the highest out of all the girls on that website. Like everybody thinks she's the best one, and for good reason too. I think Rias is second, but I think Asia places last. I personally love Asia, but I like Akano too, so I can see why. Like I think with me is everything that Akano has and everything that Asia have. If I would have to pick one over the other, if I pick Akano, I would miss Asia, and if I pick Asia, I would miss Akano. So it's kind of hard for me to say one over the other. But I do think Asia deserves a lot more appreciation because, you know, rarely do you get a female who's going to be like, oh, you are sleeping with him? I want to sleep with him too. Like a lot of chicks, they'll just jump in the room and like hit him. You know, like what is going on here? And then they'll like hit him or something. Like I was watching the other show, Elemental Blade Dance, where it's like kind of like a harem anime too. And like anytime he's around a different girl, like another girl will come in and hit him, you know, attack him for being around another girl.
I don't like that about animes either. I don't like when they show the females being so abusive to the guys.
Right.
That really bothers me. I'm like, why they have to do that? Just why? black eyes, bloody noses. Why they have to beat them up so badly like that? Why they have to put that in there?
Right, I understand, if girl might be a little bit jealous, but see how Asia handles that situation. She either wants to be a part of it, or, like, not even a part of it, she, like, fights for her position, too. Like, that's why I love Aja. I can appreciate her. Because if I'm laying in the bed with Riz, for clear reasons, don't stand in the doorway, you know what I'm saying, like, mad that I'm with Riz. No, come join us, or, make a point. Like, I want to be a part of this, too. Like, come on. Like, that's why I love Aja. So, I think she's adorable. She's a sweetheart. So, like, that's why I say I put her as waifu. She's waifu. Akino, I love Akino, too. But why do you think Akino is your favorite? Why would you say she's your favorite? Everybody says that she's her. Everybody says she's the favorite. Why is she your favorite?
I like how she is the queen piece of chess.
Rias is queen.
Rias is queen. No, Akano.
Akino is Rias' queen, yeah.
Yeah. I like her for that reason. I like how strong she is. I like her fight scenes. I like how seductive she is.
What you mean by seductive?
I like how she knows what to say to a man, how to turn him on. I like how she was sucking on Issei's finger.
And stuff like that, exactly what I was saying. Like, Akino knows exactly what to say. Clearly, he's turning Issei on, but he's acting like Peter Grill. You do get that little bit of like, oh my goodness, like this is too much. But Peter Grill actually end up dealing with the girl, whereas Issei is like.
Issei was just making me mad.
Yeah, he just makes you mad. Like, dude, why are you acting like this?
That moment was
Don't you want to be a harem king?
That moment was hot. And he was just like, he has ruined it.
Oh, what you mean by that moment was hot? Go ahead, explain.
The way she was talking, everything she was doing, the way she was sucking on his finger was just, that whole scene was a hot scene. And I kind of wish, I kind of wanted him to be more into that moment than how he was.
Right. Definitely hot scene. Definitely shoots her up to one of the best girls in anime, I think, Akino. And like I said, Aja too. Which just imagine being in a room with Akino sucking on you, and then Aja opens up the door. Hey, me too! It's like, oh yeah, like, the more the merrier, come on in.
I could see her doing that.
Like, that's why I think I like Akino and Aja together. I put those kind of like on the same level. But I do think Aja, like, to like real life standards, like what a waifu, like what fits a waifu, I think Aja has more waifu qualities. Akino is like best girl. I can see why she's best girl, but Aja, I think she's waifu. I think the only problem is she doesn't get as much attention because her breasts, they're not as big.
Not as big as
They're
Rias.
not as big as Rias or Akino. That's sort of like even with that scene where Issei is like fighting for the breast of all the girls in the Memory House. He's like, this is for Rias's breast and this is for Akino's big titties, and then he's like, this is so Aja's breast can get bigger. They can keep growing. So yeah, like I think that's part of the reason why Aja goes under the radar, because her breasts aren't she's not as busty as the rest of them, right? Now, as for my thoughts on Rias, now a lot of people will say Rias. They would put Rias before Aja. I can't. I can't see myself putting Rias before Aja. Aja seems more to me more like she's there for me, as far as like being with me. I don't know how to explain it really, but it's like everything Asia does, she does it in a way that almost seems like she gets joy and pleasure out of it. You know what I'm saying? But Rias, on the other hand, she is more of an energy like, you know, like a more of a possessive, uh, strong female type archetype personality. So I think she loses points with me. That I think that's also why she loses points compared to Akano, because Akano, her character, she's in the queen position. She's not in the king position like Rias. Rias is forced to be a leader. Rias is forced to make strong decisions and be kind of like this uh, empress type energy, which takes away, I feel like, from the seductive aspect. Like you mentioned with Akano, Akano's free to be more, and looked at as seductive. Whereas Rias, her character, it's almost like because she has to tell everybody what to do, because she has to manage everybody, because she has to keep on this front like this, you know, powerful woman, it's kind of hard for her to soften up around, you know, Issei or any guy. It's kind of hard for her to see her in a softer way. Like Akano, she just follows and takes orders. Even though she's powerful, she clearly can, you know, go toe to toe with the best of them in a fight. She still can be soft because she's not in that power position like Rias is. So I think a lot of that gets lost. Because I remember the scene where Rias asked Issei about, you know, she's like, well, is there any place for me in your harem? And Issei's like, no, that's beneath you. Why would you want to be in my silly harem?
Yeah,
you know, she didn't understand where he was coming from.
It seemed like she's already the top leader of her own harem.
Right, like it's like
how you won't fit in here in my harem, but you already.
Yeah, he respects her as a strong woman too much, right? Whereas somebody like Akano, in contrast, was you know, she's soft. She's much softer and more feminine, and you know, she could be way more seductive and enchanting. Versus Rias, Rias looks good. She's hot. She has the rack. She has the body. She has what it takes. I just think that her position kind of puts her in a box, and she's not as versatile as Akano could be sexy, to turn on, to be like an aphrodisiac towards a man. That being said, I do feel like after she did ask him that question, she found where her placement should be a lot better. Remember, at first, she was going kind of having like a rivalry between her and Akano, a little jealous of Akano because Akano started feeling Issei. But after she walked in on them, after Akano admitted to Issei that she's half fallen angel, half demon, right? She walked in on them, and then they had that talk, and now she's like, you know, she's talking to Issei like, she actually brings Issei Akano. So Rias is starting to understand how Issei is and how to make him happy. It's almost like she understands like her position isn't going to be, whether she's a part of his harem or not. It's like she's finding a place in that by bringing him Akano. Like, I thought that was a thorough thing to do for her to do. Like, she walked in on him. She clearly sees, like, you know, he's feeling it. She turns on. She's like, "Oh, this is my friend. She's hot. She can clearly admit, you know, she can't take that away from Akano." She's like, "You know what? I'm gonna throw my girlfriend to you." You know what I'm saying? Instead of being jealous. And look, hey, maybe there's a theme with me. Like I said, even with Asia. You know, like, it's just, you know, when girls can get along like that in a harem setting, I'm saying I like that versus the conflict aspect. You know, Rias could easily drew that out and it turned to an entirely different anime because Rias is jealous or she wants to be like, they could have handled that differently, but no. Instead, in the night she brings Akano to Issei. She's like, all right, you know, here she is. You could have her. Like, I can make your dreams come true type shit. And to be honest, that wasn't the deal for him selling his soul in the first place. So that's my take on Rias. What's your thoughts on Rias?
I wasn't liking how, I didn't like how she was acting jealous with Akano. But I do like how